Yo, Cody, you ready for the mailbag?
Yes, I am. Boom.
All right, start off hot here. Of course, this is like you didn't want you haven't seen the pay per view yet, correct?
No.
Okay, but you know about all the stuff with Ariel Helwani, right?
Yeah,
No?
that him and Tony went at each other.
Okay. Here's the first question. This was from Sean Burgess, and the subject is Ariel Helwani. Gents, I assume this will be discussed in detail in the podcast, but sod it. I'll send a question on it. What does that mean? But sod it, SOD. What does that mean, Joe?
Like it, I guess.
Oh, sod it. Okay, I'll send a question on it anyway. Actually, Sean, we like it when you actually ask the question, so we don't have to. We can just bring it up in the mailbag. Pretty short and simple. Is Ariel Helwani everything that all the dirt sheet journalists have always wanted to be? He is backstage, in the know, appears on the show, has one-on-one interviews with top stars in WWE and MMA. He's respected and is globally well-known and credible across combat sports and wrestling. Also, he's not a laughingstock to a casual fan. The Mark seemed jealous of all his attention at this moment. Keep well, and that's from Sean in the UK. It is funny, because I think I look at Ariel as a when a guy like him is covering wrestling, it adds credibility to wrestling. Like, people are sitting there trying to, like Tony Khan had the comment, you're what was the comment that he made exactly, Joe? Called him a fraud.
Fraudulent journalist.
Fraud. Okay, yeah. Bro, the one thing Ariel is not is a fraud journalist, especially when you watch the AEW media scrums, it's filled with fraud journalists. They don't ask hard questions. He talked about like Ariel being unbiased, sarcastic, saying he's unbiased. Bro, every single guy that Tony lets in the scrum is biased towards AEW. That's why he lets him in there. That was a really weird take from Tony on that. I don't know why. I don't know. It was just I don't know. Well, Konnan, what was your take on that when you saw Tony comment like that?
But my question is, when he called him a fraudulent journalist, was he talking about something in general or specific?
Well, because he showed up on SmackDown. It was Ariel's first appearance for WWE, and I guess Tony was watching. He tweeted right
he
after
can't work in WWE? He doesn't work for him?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's Tony's problem, that he's working for WWE.
That he's biased because he was.
Well, obviously you're biased. The company you work for, they're paying you. What are you going to do?
I don't even know. I don't even think they were paying him.
Okay.
The thing is he was there.
But he was happy to be there, bro. I've seen him do interviews with WWE stars, like in London, and they're very kind of classy, and he's well spoken, and he was in UFC before that, and he was very credible there. Like, yeah, he gives our industry respectability compared to the other guys that consider themselves experts, and they come off as marks.
Yeah, and actually, Disco, you were what you're about to say is right. Yeah, Ariel was in the crowd, actually, Konnan. He was in the crowd with.
He's from Canada, though.
Yeah.
He's supporting his people.
Montreal.
Right. But then I think he did a crowd spot either that night or the next night where he was like, hey, coming up on Elimination Chamber. He did that too. So
nothing wrong with that. Why? What are you alluding to, Joe?
I'm not alluding to anything. I'm just giving you context.
Guys, quiet.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and just knock this out. Ariel responded to this on his podcast today. I've got the transcript.
Right.
It's a little bit of a lengthy read, but all of it's interesting. All right. So I'm just going to read it. All right. Here we go. This was from on the latest episode of the MMA Hour does today. Ariel Helwani addresses recent spat with Tony Khan by saying he initially thought the tweet from Tony Khan was fake. Okay. Quote, I just wanted to live in the moment, but then for a second, because I had like an hour before his next live shot, I did look at the phone because I wanted to see if people were watching. I don't know. And I look at this tweet from Tony Khan, and I swear to God, I looked at this tweet 3 times because I thought it was fake. Because, anyone can have a blue check mark. This guy doesn't follow me. This guy has never tweeted me. There's no way he actually tweeted this. Number 1, proving that he was watching, which is bizarre. Why would you do that? Why would you put the competition over to show that you're watching some random SmackDown in a random moment during the telecast? Number 2, putting down his own guy in the process. Your guy, the great Tony Schiavone, Atlanta sports legend, calling me a fraud and then saying that I'm as much of a journalist as Tony Schiavone. Now, I'm trying to think, what is the point he was trying to prove here? Is he trying to say that Schiavone isn't a journalist? Which, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't he have a little respect for being a media dude? Tony Schiavone is still an announcer for the Atlanta Braves system, the minor league team and stuff, right? So Tony is absolutely a media personality. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ariel continued to say that he didn't have to insult Tony in the process by implying he was not a real journalist, and Helwani also mentioned that Khan was still upset that he gave him one of the worst interviews of all time. Quote. So this guy's calling me a fraud, and then he's saying that Tony Schiavone is as much of a journalist as me. I guess he's trying to imply that he's not real journalist and I'm not real journalist. Why insult your guy in the process? You could have said that in a million different ways. I mean, the real thing you should have done is said nothing because, number one, why are you putting over the competition's broadcast? Your show is coming up. Nice little cheeky hashtag there in the tweet as well. But, like, this you talk about a non-goal, and I know that Fulham is having a little bit of a better season. They certainly haven't had a great run with Cons involved. But, I mean, this is one of the great non-goals. I just couldn't believe it. I had to check a couple times, like, was this really him? Now, to take a step back, he's still upset, clearly, over the fact that he gave me one of the all-time worst interviews and ignoring the fact that I've continuously praised the product ever since they launched around 3 years ago. It was just a bad interview. Objectively, a bad interview. Now, what's amazing about that interview is, everyone loves to talk about, oh, he couldn't talk about this, he couldn't talk about that, legal this, legal that. First of all, like, where's the legal, right? Where's the proof? What legal are you guys talking about? Where's the investigation you guys keep talking about? But I just want to let you all know very clearly that I had asked Tony multiple times to come on the show. I stopped asking because I was told that he wasn't sure. I'm Nick Khan's guy. I work for BT, which is ridiculous. That's just a broadcast partner. That'd be like saying to somebody like Mark Raimondi that he shouldn't interview Bellator guys because he works for ESPN and UFC is on ESPN. It's stupid. Anyways, I just stopped asking. They reached out to me several months later and said, do you want Tony on? I said, really? Cool. Never said, don't ask this, don't ask about that. You don't think I was going to ask him about these things? Anybody worth the salt would ask these things. There's a million different ways to answer those questions. But just to let you know, at the time, I had no relationship with anyone in terms of business, anything like that. This was back in early October. So to now pin those questions on me appearing on SmackDown and all that stuff is a move because one has nothing to do with the other. He's just mad that he came off looking like a guy who didn't know how to handle these situations, is only comfortable promoting and talking on and on about the product when it's not really what the public wants to hear. And now he's trying to say, look, this is why he asked me these questions, which is all just really silly, man. Why do you care? Why do you really care? I said it was a bad interview. I praised your product. Why are you so quick to run to your phone and tweet this in my moment? That's when I realized old Ariel would never let this tweet and a guy like this bother him. I actually was like invigorated by it. I thought it was hilarious. I was debating, like, do I tweet at the back now? Let me just chew on this for a while. Let me get this second hit out of the way and then I'll deal with this. But the amazing thing was how the whole thing spread backstage. Everybody was talking about it. Hey, did you see this? Did you see the tweet? I'm like, I'm the new guy. I've only been here for 4 hours. Like, I barely know a lot of these people. It was amazing. Was that really him? Yeah, I guess it was him. He doesn't follow me, but I still kind of feel bad for Tony Schiavone because he was insulted in the process. Bizarre. This guy doesn't know what journalism is. He's no different than Dana. What I thought about tweeting back to him was, Dana's not going to shag you, mate. He was trying to curry favor with his idol, Dana White. I thought that would be too much of a deep cut for the wrestling audience, but he's just trying to do that thing. It hasn't worked for Dana, and it ain't going to work for Tony Khan. I can assure you of that. I wasn't sure if maybe he couldn't hear what I was saying on SmackDown. Maybe the connection's bad on his TV. It was snowing in Montreal. I'm not sure if it was snowing in Jackson. I can't stress this enough. Old Ariel will never bend down over this. I was not going to let this guy who's built an amazing thing, all credit to him. This kid, if it wasn't for his old man, let me tell you something. My dad gave me a lot. But as far as MMA journalism and everything I've got, that was all on me, all right? I'm proud of what I built. I was not going to let this guy soil my name, drag it through the mud, ruin my night, Montreal, a dream, a bucket list thing, and I know he's trying to get himself over on me because Lord knows he needs it. I wasn't going to let that happen. Absolutely not. Then I'm in the car, and I didn't think I was going to reply back, to be honest. But then I was like, Helwani, 10-7 all day, every day. I'm just not going to let this slide. You're not going to call me a fraud and get away with it. And honestly, I felt bad for Tony Schiavone. I felt like I needed to stand up for my guy. I mean, come on, what a legend. I feel like Tony Schiavone and me doing broadcasting together, I feel that would put butts in seats. People would enjoy that. That's a deep cut from the old WCW days. And then all of the freakazoids come out, to Tony's defense, telling me about my career, my life, about journalism, about this and that. Let me explain to you, because poor Dave Meltzer, I see continue to get compared to me. I'm not Dave Meltzer. I never claimed to be Dave Meltzer. I don't cover pro wrestling for a living. I don't have a wrestling show. I don't have a wrestling site. I don't have a wrestling newsletter. Why do you guys keep comparing me to this guy? Because I may be that guy in MMA? I've never been that guy in this sport. When I signed with BT Sport, the sole thing I was hired to do mainly was UFC. The problem was someone at the UFC, who, wasn't happy about it, threw a fit, went crazy, did all this stuff, and they were like, all right, well, I guess we could use him in WWE then. This is not a work. Tony wants to shoot. He's looking for a foil. He's trying to pick a fight with the biggest name in combat sports and wrestling media. He's trying to pick a fight with me, so I'll say this to Tony. I'm sorry about your Jaguars. They shot the bed against the Chiefs. I'm sorry about Fulham. Sorry that Fulham is a mid-tier club. I'm sorry that it seems like a lot of people say things about you. I wasn't one of those guys, in fact. I praised you and your product multiple times. I went to Dynamite in Queens. I don't know why you're so upset about. You're upset because I asked you a few questions and you didn't answer them correctly. I don't know. Like I've said time and again, if you come at the king, you best not miss. And once again, he missed just like all of them. And let me tell you something. I've had to deal with the likes of Dana White. I mean, if you think I'm afraid of, Big Bad Tony K, I'm not. I never met the guy. I don't know what his thing is. I think he's trying to be tough like Dana White and all this stuff. But thank you for the tweet, man. Honestly, thank you. It was great. I think it helped me out. And thanks to everyone who's been tweeting me up a storm about me and all upset, ruining your weekend. I loved every minute of it. It was fantastic.
There's a let me just add this to it, DI, because he didn't mention it. So his response, this article here says, after Ariel Helwani appeared on SmackDown in Montreal this week, Tony Khan jumped on Twitter. He unleashed a bit of fury. He called Helwani a fraud. That caused a lot of attention. Ariel Helwani then fired back at Tony Khan as he made reference to the AEW president as a snowman. This was a blatant shot at Tony Khan's alleged affinity for white powder. And he said, thanks for watching, old friend. Can wait for our next chat. Also, don't listen to the snowman, Shivani. You're a legend in my books. Meltzer responded to this, and he goes, then he comes back with that snowman comment. I can just imagine all the brownie points that won him in WWE, and now that's pretty bad. That's really pretty bad. In the Twitter world, you were over for the best insult. Now, how do you come back from that one? So, I just thought it was interesting that the Tony Khan and drugs thing is like an internet fan joke, but to see Ariel put it publicly like that was pretty serious.
Konnan, what's your take on this?
Well, I think, he's right. I think that Tony's mad that he didn't come off good in that interview and he got dragged. And then Ariel came out and kind of said that was a terrible interview because unfortunately, and I don't understand how Tony can be like this, because I read this the other day that he said, I've been on the internet since I was 12 years old. So, bro, do you not understand that anybody, especially a booker in our industry, wrestlers, commentators, managers, any sport you're talking about is susceptible to criticism. And if you can't take it, bro, you're not going to last long. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so I just think that he doesn't like anything to be said bad about the company and he takes it personally. That's his company. But, that's how I look at it.
I just think it's really weird that he basically, he's upset that Ariel called him out on his interview being bad, right?
Right.
And, bro, think about the fact that has, festered in him that simmered all this time. And, he was actually triggered by just watching this guy just in the crowd shot on SmackDown?
Bro, I told you the other day. I told you the other day that when I went to do that meeting with him, he hates WWE.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he said he said in an interview recently. He said, "Well, it's a war."
Yeah.
I don't I don't know, man. It's like this is not. He's decided. Okay, and then it's not even arguable. I think he thinks this is good press for him.
Right.
I think he's oblivious, bro. This is not good press. No. It's like Vince McMahon. I don't know. Maybe Eric Bischoff would have been like this if Twitter was around, but I can't imagine him being that petty. You know what I mean? Like Eric would go on the show and call out Vince McMahon. So, Eric might have been like this on Twitter, but but Tony just comes across as very, I don't know, like a snowflake. Like his feelings are hurt, and this was his way to get back at him. So I don't know. It's very strange. It's just Tony Khan is, bro. The guy provides a lot of content for the wrestling business. He's definitely a if AEW had not come along 3 years ago, I have no idea what WWE would be like right now. Because SmackDown's been really good. They've had one of the best storylines in all time, but they could have been just as miserable as it was before for all those years where, bro, how many shows would we review and we'd have a good review?
Well, not just hardly that, ever, bro. But now, if you look at would Vince get triggered like that would Triple H,
not publicly,
not even Scott D'Amore in Impact or Dorian Roldan in Triple A. They don't go on there and let get all in their feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Would Heyman have done that back in the day if there was social media, you think?
I don't know. Heyman's very smart. You don't even see him on social media now.
First of all, what this, and then here's the weirdest the thing too that Tony has to understand. It's like, dude, you introduced this idea of having media scrums after every show, and like letting these guys come in the back, and you want to get up there and answer their questions and stuff. But now, but it's like you don't want people to ask you any tough questions. Like you literally just want people to ask you friendly questions that put you over and and like. To the point that like the people that interview you after these scrums, they're scared to ask you a tough question. And it's like, so it's like he's trying to, it's like literally this comes across as like, wait a minute, I made the rules on this. Ariel broke the rules and now I'm mad at Ariel. And like I'm still mad at Ariel. And that's why I tweeted this. That's what this comes across to me like, so.